Welcome to my kitchen part 2. Tonight I'm going to be showing you how to make mozzarella cheese. I ordered this kit from the Caputo Brothers Creamery. It's in, I want to say Pennsylvania. I was going to say Virginia, but Pennsylvania. And I ordered this kit online and I'm going to link it so that you can do the same if you wish. It is not required, okay, you don't have to, but there is going to be some questions to go through for you. And the reason that I chose to order from this company is because they are big advocates for the dairy farmers that they purchase their milk from. And I just thought that was really cool because of the struggle that dairy farmers are going through right now. So before you start, you need just some really basic kitchen tools. You have a strainer or a colander that fits inside a big bowl, your mixing bowl and stretching bowl, and then I have a third bowl full of cold water. And then you can use a plastic or silicone or rubber spatula, but they recommend using a wood or stainless steel one. So I have all my stuff here, and you also need about a gallon of 190-degree water. So there's a couple ways you can do that. You can boil it, get it to like a rapid bubbling boil, okay, and then turn it off for about 5 minutes, and that's going to be almost 190 degrees. Otherwise, you can put it on the stove and use like a meat thermometer or a handheld thermometer and do it that way. Or if you have like a programmable tea kettle that you can set the temperature, you can also use that. So those are your things that you're going to need, plus the curd and the salt that they send in the kit. So they sent in the package, they send basically a brick full of curd, which is milk mixed with culture. And what culture is basically is bacteria, okay? And what happens in order to make a true cheese, not necessarily the American way, is in order to make cheese, you have to have culture, and you have to have bacteria, because what happens is the bacteria will eat the lactose or the sugar in the milk, and then it will become lactic acid, and that's called fermentation. And that makes this traditionally made cheese lactose or nearly lactose free. So if on an ingredient label culture is included on a cheese package, then that means that it went through this fermentation process and is probably lactose free or almost lactose free. So I have my big block, and now I need to break up these curds into like quarter size pieces. I'm gonna move a little bit so that you can see me a little bit. Okay, so I'm just breaking this up and I'm pulling it apart. Okay, and you can see it's kind of a crumbly mass right now, and it's breaking apart really easily. And this is the product that they would get from like their cheese vats. So after they have taken the milk, they do a low temperature pasteurization. And then they add the culture, which eats the lactose, converts it to lactic acid, and gives cheese or yogurt, kind of that, like, I can't really describe the flavor, I guess, but it's like in like the back of your cheeks, and you can kind of feel that taste. I don't want to make these too small. I don't want it to be like rice. I'm trying to make it kind of like quarter to nickel size pieces. Okay, I'm gonna keep breaking these up. And my next step is gonna be to add the salt. So they provided a pre-measured package of salt, and salt gives it flavor. You'll see this looks like a lot of salt, and that's because it is, but what we do is we actually have to rinse this cheese off with hot water. So most of the salt will get washed off, so we need to add extra to make sure there's still a little bit left. So there's my cheese curds. I'm gonna add the salt, and then I'm gonna coat it all around. And then I have a pot of boiling water on my stove right now. I'm gonna get it up to a rapid boil, and then I'm going to turn it off for 5 minutes, and that's gonna get the water to about 190 degrees. Now that I've got my 190 degree-ish water ready, I'm gonna pour about 3/4 of what I have in my pot into my bowl with the cheese. And what this is gonna do is basically, it's gonna melt it, it's gonna temper it. I'm gonna pour it right over the curds. And then I'm gonna stir it for like 20 to 30 seconds. And what will start to happen is the cheese is gonna start to melt and kind of get stringy and start coming together as I stir. So I'll be back in 20 to 30 seconds. Okay, my 30 seconds is up. I'm done stirring, and now I'm going to drain out some of this water, and that's why I have the colander in this, to catch any curds that might also come with it. So I'm gonna drain this out. And then if any curds come out, they'll get caught in my colander, and then I will just be able to pop them back in the bowl. So drain this out. Okay, and now you can take a look at my cheese mixture. There's a little bit of liquid coming out, but it's melted a little bit. The curds aren't as independent as they were before. And now I'm gonna take my hot water again, and I'm gonna pour it, and I'm gonna pour it on the side of the curds, not directly on them. And I'm gonna pour just enough water in to cover them. Okay, and this time I'm not gonna stir. I'm gonna gently push all of the curds to one side and kind of make a ball with them. I wish you could see this better. I don't have a fancy camera kitchen, but now I'm pushing them all to one side, and I can't really do it and hold my phone. So you're gonna have to just deal with it. I've pushed them all to one side. And now I'm gonna do what on the website they called, and I let it sit for too long now when I was moving my phone. I'm gonna do what they called the waterfall stretch. So I'm gonna try to get some under my thing, kind of get it, and then I just raise it up and it makes a stretch, or it should. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna do this 3 times. Get it together again. And the pot of cold water is because this is pretty warm, so you can use it to cool off your hands. Okay, again, I'm gonna stretch it out. And this is just giving it some really good texture. Mozzarella cheese is traditionally used on pizza and in a lot of Italian dishes, pastas. This is pretty sweet, you guys. Peel this off. I'm gonna do it one more time. Also, it would work really good if you have a stainless steel bowl. You can use stainless steel as well instead of this plastic that I'm using, and it won't stick as much. Okay, again, I'm gonna kind of get it to stay on my spoon and then stretch it out. And for the most part, I'm pulling up and kind of just letting it gradually fall. But it's way up to, almost as tall as I am. Okay, pretty cool. All right, so I've stretched it. And now, this is where this cold water comes. So I'm gonna cool my hands down a little bit, because now I'm gonna form it into a ball. I'm gonna take this out. And it's hot. Okay, so keep your cold water close by and you can cool off your hands. second. And you're gonna notice when I'm doing this, I'm really just using fingertip pressure. Okay, I'm not like, it's not like the bread dough, how we kneaded it a lot. So I have my whole thing of cheese here. And now I'm just gonna take it around and kind of tuck it within itself with just my fingertips. And tuck it in, almost like you're like folding a pair of socks. Tuck it and stretch it. It smells really good, just saying. It smells good. Cool my hands off a little bit. Tuck it and stretch it until you get a shiny top. Tuck it, stretch it. Okay, and then the last thing I want to do is I want to form these into a little bit smaller pieces. Okay, so I'm going to form it into mozzarella. I need to get that in there first. Okay. Okay, so I have my 2 C's with my hands, okay, like this. All right. And my top is shiny. I'm gonna take my 2 C's, okay, about the size that I want, and I'm gonna push them together, release with my right hand, and then tuck this in, and you will feel it. It's gonna start ripping, okay, and I'm gonna squeeze, all right? And I'm gonna take just 1 finger, okay? And if you squeeze it really, really tight, you'll feel most of it's gonna come apart. Take 1 finger down the thumb and rip it off. There's an Italian word, I'm not gonna even try to pronounce it, okay? But it is basically the root word of mozzarella, and it means to break, and transfer it to the palm, and there's my nice little ball of mozzarella cheese. I'm gonna put it in my cold water, and then I'm gonna fingertip round this again till I get my nice shiny top. And then I will do the same thing with my 2 C's, about there. Squeeze it, release with my right hand, tuck it in. Okay, I can feel it, it's ripping really easily and breaking. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Take 1 finger and rip the rest. Just a little bit of it. Transfer it to your palm. Nice little ball of mozzarella. Stick it in my cold water. All right, and then I think this guy is just gonna be the size that he is. So I'm just gonna make him look a little nicer. Tuck him in a little bit. All right, I might actually have to rip him up a little bit and taste it, but I'm just gonna rip it. Okay, and there's my last ball. Stick it in my cold water, and then I have to let them sit for a while. Put them in my fridge. You can slice them up, put them on top of some homemade pizza, lasagna, anything. So I'm excited to try it. Please make sure that you finish your questions regarding mozzarella cheese. And if you want to try to do this on your own, you can use the website that I provided. Or there's also lots of other mozzarella cheese making kits online. If you do it, please send me pictures or a video of how it goes. See you guys.